All right, so I thought it was a fun Monday night game. This was definitely a blast. I thought, Aaron Rodgers, I thought played very well, right? 255 yards on 27 attempts. That's just shy of 10 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, no picks. And I think the main thing I want to talk about is I thought that, again, the game was competitive for the first half, kind of got away from Detroit in the second half. But to me, the real interesting thing and the main thing I want to key in on is going to be kind of the strategy in the first half and what the Lions did and then how the Packers counteracted it. On the Manning cast, they talked about this a good amount, so I figured I could kind of go more in depth about that. Also, if you're not watching that Peyton Manning cast, or Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, I highly recommend it. It's very fun, and they actually talk like schemes and stuff. They don't just, say very cliche stuff that you will hear on other broadcasts. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is I want to just sort of set up what the difference is between 2 safeties deep and 1 safety deep. And kind of, I think that's something not a lot of football fans fully understand. So maybe I can help explain a little bit of why that matters so much in the running game and in the passing game, just with a quick, 1 or 2 minute thing, and then I'll get into the film study. It lasts 2.5 minutes, so just skip ahead if you want to. And anyways, let's just jump into it. So yeah, starting off with this. So what's happening here is, again, this is not necessarily a perfect diagram, right? I just whipped this up in MS Paint, okay? But I think it can be a good way of just sort of real quick explaining exactly what the significance is between 1 safety deep and 2 safety deep. This is actually the base of football for the most part. This is most of football strategy. So what's happening here is that you have, I set the play out. Currently, the offense has a tight end to their right. They have 2 receivers to the right as well, one receiver to their left. And so you notice I have some defensive players who are on the field, although I haven't put everyone there. There's still 4 left because there's 2 main ways you can do this. Obviously, it's more than just 2, but there's mostly 2 ways you do this. First is single safety deep coverage. This is the most common coverage in the NFL. So in the passing game, stuff can get open on the outside, right? Basically, both sideline areas can be open as, unless you're just an incredible safety like Ed Reed or something. Typically, now you can't cover both sidelines. One of them is going to be open. This would be just a running concept you could have, a blocking concept you could have against this coverage if you're running the ball to your right. And as you see, this would, it would seemingly work out okay, but there's one glaring issue. That guy right there, that linebacker, is unblocked on this play. So it's difficult to run with the football in this scenario. That is how a lot of running plays get stopped, with that extra guy who is unblocked at the line. But that is not always a guy who is unblocked at the line, because this is cover 2, right? You have 2 safeties further deep now. Everything else is the same. So again, both safeties wouldn't actually be what you see on the screen of them being right next to each other. They would be more spread out, meaning the sidelines are now not really open. Further down the field, if you're throwing more than 10, 15 yards, you're throwing into double coverage almost always, unless, you get a safety to bite on some sort of concept designed to, fake them. But now when you see a blocking concept, you can block everybody, right? So now there's someone to account for every single player. So that's why you can actually get these bigger runs, even though you might have some situations where you're not able to throw the ball as much. This is what Detroit was doing because it made sense. Don't let Rodgers beat you with throwing. Instead, let Aaron Jones beat you with running. And so let's talk about what the Packers did early on to try and counteract this. Again, they didn't get a lot of possessions, and that's another aspect of why this idea works against a team like the Packers. I think the Lions went in there with the mindset of, okay, we know we're underdogs here, so let's not do anything too crazy. Let's not try to come out here and just, throw all over them. Instead, let's limit some possessions. Let's let them help us limit possessions by forcing them into a concept where they have to run the ball a lot, meaning the clock will run, and instead of, there being 12 possessions, there might only be 8 possessions. That's actually pretty similar to how Minnesota beat Green Bay last year, despite being the worst team, and they also ran the ball a lot. So for Green Bay, there's several things you can do. You can obviously run the ball, as I talked about, and there's also some passing things you can do. Look at Rodgers, just runs a play action and then just a quick pass to Adams, and they're able to pick up a first down. Just little stuff like that. I like what Peyton Manning said about you should take it as an insult, right? Say, oh, you don't think I can check down every play. I thought that was very fun to get into the mind of a quarterback. I like that kind of stuff. Little things like this is how you drive the ball down the field. There was this play, which was just kind of odd. I want to bring up this one because I kind of had a thought of like, the Packers running the ball as much as they're running the football. There's a part of me who feels like Rodgers just didn't get that much to do, and he kind of was a little bit cold. So even though he, in the first half, 8 for 10, so it's not like it was really affecting him that much, but something like this, I think maybe he had ran the ball a lot, and handing the ball off. Now he's a little bit cold at the end of a long possession. And so as you see, this is a screen pass, or it's a pick play, that was wide open, and Rodgers was under pressure, so that obviously was a factor. He tries to throw it over him and just missed it. I think that is a little bit of something, too, for the Lions, and why this philosophy was a smart one going in, was just like, hey, we can get Rodgers off his game a little bit, make him not be in a rhythm. Now, the downside is something like this, where on the very next play, they were able to get all the way 2-1. You now have a rollout, and you're going to have a couple of players that Rodgers could throw to. Watch. So the play action works. And listen, you talk about establishing the run. Play actions are going to work when you are playing cover 2 defense a lot. That's just what's going to happen. And so now for Rodgers, there's a guy who's open. This is an easy play for him to make. Aaron Jones is open. As you see, it's still a good off-balance throw, perfectly accurate. Not too high degree of difficulty, but that's a good thing. Even though Rodgers is great, if you can get him to make some easier throws, that's always the main thing you want to do. And then there was this one, which, to be honest, this felt like the first bad play call of the night for the Lions, and the Packers really took advantage. Brett Favre called it out on the Manning cast. It's 3rd and 12. I don't know why you're going with a robber here, which is, one safety kind of comes over the middle, and it's only a single safety who stays deep. And especially with Davante Adams, it's gonna be against Melifonwu, who is a rookie. This is not a favorable matchup for Detroit whatsoever. You want to have 2 safeties deep on this play. You do. And it's weird because they were running 2 safeties deep all game, and then in kind of an obvious 2 safety deep situation, they put 1 safety over. I think they were hoping they could fool Rodgers and get him to make a mistake, but he's just too smart to have that happen. So watch how right when this play starts, you are going to see Rodgers take the snap, and he's going to fire this one deep. It's not even wide open, really. This isn't horrible coverage against Adams, who, is obviously an amazing receiver. It's not like he's known for his go routes, but he is open here on a 3rd down and 12. And again, you look at the safety, there's just no safety help. This is a true one-on-one. And as you see, perfect throw, and they're able to get a big completion. And that kind of really just, they get the stop there. They're still up 3. That's just a blow. And that's what Rodgers can do, right? That's what Aaron Rodgers can do. You give him an inch, he'll take a mile. And same thing with Davante Adams. You make a mistake, and they'll make you pay. Rodgers quickly followed it up with this one, 3rd down and 6. It's a cover 2 man play. The Lions said, okay, we're not getting burned with that again. But again, this time it would have made more sense to do a robber concept if you wanted to, because you have a lot of open field over the middle, and with Robert Tonyan, who's running a route over the middle, what's really going to be interesting about this to me is watch the linebacker. Look, Rodgers takes a snap, and the linebacker's going to have to turn his back, and the second Rodgers sees that, he fires it over. Because when your back is turned, you can't make a play on the ball. You can't react, and that's why Rodgers threw it so quickly, because if you lob it up a little bit, put a little bit of air under it, maybe the linebacker has more time to look over and knock the ball away, so you don't want that to happen. So that's why Rodgers just threw a bullet right there, and that's why he, it's even though there's no separation, it's actually not as difficult of a play as long as the linebacker doesn't have time to turn around. And as you see, just a good, beautiful throw, and they're able to get the ball into the end zone right there. So you get a couple plays like that, and that's just what makes it so difficult to stop the Packers, is you try to make them march methodically down the field. They can do that, and they can also still get some chunk plays. So yeah, that's what I thought. Fun game. A lot of good primetime games. At least that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.